All right, in the next part of lesson 9.3, we're going to investigate what's called a cyclic quadrilateral. We've already talked about inscribed polygons and circumscribed polygons and things like that. But if we have a quadrilateral inscribed in a circle, its definition is a cyclic, or one of its names is a cyclic quadrilateral. Each angle of the cyclic quadrilateral is an inscribed angle, and each of the sides of the cyclic quadrilateral is a chord of the circle. So we're going to construct a large circle, and we are going to make a cyclic quadrilateral by picking any 4 points on the circle. I want to make this a non-special quadrilateral to start off with. So I'm just going to pick 4 random points. Nothing special about what is happening here. Okay. And then we're going to measure each of the 4 inscribed angles, and we're going to write in the measures of the angles, and then we are going to try to make some observations. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video while I'm measuring my angles, just so that you're just like not seeing me measure these angles. And then I'll come back when I'm done with that. So I've measured my angles, and now I'm going to take a look. It says, look carefully at the sums of various angles, share your observation. All right, so sum, of course, means I'm going to add. The first thing I'm noticing is I do not see any congruent angles, so that's one thing to note. So if I'm looking at sums of angles, like angle pairs, I would maybe look at sums of consecutive angles, okay, or sums of opposite angles. So those are the sums that are kind of coming to my mind right now. So if I look at my consecutive angles here, I have 108 plus 87, so that's 195, all right? And then here and here, this ends up being 159, so those aren't the same, or nothing sticking out to me here. And this is 165, so that's nothing special. So what about opposite angles? Well, when I add 98 and 87, I end up with 180. So 98 plus 87 is 180. And then if I add 72 and 108, I also end up with 180. So not only are they the same, but they also equal 180, and that should be tingling our spidey senses because that means that they are supplementary. And so this is our cyclic quadrilateral conjecture. The opposite angles in a cyclic quadrilateral are supplementary. Let's just talk a little bit about why that makes sense. Remember, we want to always ask ourselves, can I prove this, or why does this make sense? So if I'm looking here, again, remember that my inscribed angles are half the measure of the intercepted arc, right? So I will use a blue highlighter and a yellow marker. And so if I take a look at this 87-degree angle, for example, it intercepts this arc here, right? Ignore my dog. All right, and then the opposite angle, the 93-degree angle, intercepts this arc